And really what I've noticed just about me being in different spaces and definitely hearing masses of different opinion is the notion of the straw man. And that's what I think I can comment on it now. When they do their podcasts, you'll be talking about a particular situation, then eventually they start bringing the straw man in front of you. Yeah? And they push it. So now we're talking about this thing.
Talking about like the phases of your children. I don't even know why I'm emotional. Like, even as I'm talking about it now, I feel emotional. It's talking about the phases of your children.
Right.
And, you know, like you get to know them as like a baby.
Yeah.
And then when you feel like you know them, then along comes this toddler.
Yeah.
And then when you feel like you know them, along comes this. And then it was just like, but eventually there comes a time where it's like the child has gone.
Yeah.
It's just another adult.
Adult, yeah.
And I think, like,
that's crazy, yeah.
Especially with Akai going to secondary school. And I just look at both of them and I feel like, I haven't spent enough time with them as babies.
Well, bro, that's gone. You ain't never getting that back.
It's over.
I think the one I saw which really touched me, and I don't know whether I said it to you, was one I saw on Reddit where a man said, "There's just this day," and he was starting to cry, bruv. He was really, really emotional.
There's just this what?
There's just this day, so that I'm coming to tell you, but I was like trying to give you the scene, and as he's saying, he's crying. He's like, "You just don't pick your. There's one day you just never pick your child up ever again, just ever again. You don't know the day, but it just comes, and then that's it. You never pick him up ever again, or her up."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah, that's so true. All right. Mike, it is raining. It's a weird. You know what it is? Today, right? It's off. As I was saying to you earlier on, I was preparing for the show, and then I got like a call coming from like a potential client.
Okay.
And then I just got sidetracked, and then it felt like I was sidetracked with that, and then you just knocked on my door. Like, that's how my day felt. So even like I was in the middle of collating the videos, and usually I put it together in the thing. And like none of that's happened today. So today,
wow.
Yeah. So like, today is literally I'm going to be clicking on the videos, and they will open up one by one.
And so you're gonna do the stuff afterwards.
I've got to do the stuff afterwards.
Okay.
Just creating a rod for myself.
Your eyes not so slick today, then I guess. But bro, I'm not gonna lie. I am tired, bro. I'm feeling.
To be fair, I could also see it from when you
can
came
see
in.
it. Yeah. And I was telling you when we in pre-pro that bro, I've just not been feeling myself musically. Something's not hitting the mark. So this weekend's gonna be interesting. But yeah, right.
So you got basically you're working this weekend.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So for you, is it like, all right, isolate, or is it I need to be stimulated? It's
a combination, you know. Sometimes sometimes it's the mode of the thing I'm working on. So in some ways, you want to create as many ideas to kind of come back to. In some moments, it's you've got the idea, and you just need to sit down and spend time finessing and kind of building and working on that thing. But in this case, there is a combination of a time factor. And then a knock-on effect if other projects don't lock in. Yeah. So if I don't lock in on this if I don't lock in on this, the domino effect is long. Yeah.
So then you got that added pressure of messing everybody else up.
And then
on the line.
what's the painful thing is I thought I cracked it the other day, and that was a little bit more isolated time. And then I've got to listen to it in the studio and thought, this ain't rocking. This is not good.
That's hurtful. Like that's because it's almost like it's like two different people in it,
fam. And then I told my client, I said to them, I'll have it for you today, and they haven't got it. I said to them, sorry, is there a possibility that I could give you over the weekend? And he was like, okay, cool.
Wow.
So bro, and I'm tired. Old people shit. That's the reason why we ain't going raving. Because this matters. Someone said I was at a comedy show the other day, and they said, men. All they do when they go out is they talk about their facts.
Their facts?
Facts. Facts. Oh,
do you know what?
So Russell's got his facts.
Yeah.
I have my facts.
Yeah.
So everyone is judged and coalesced on the facts that are their facts.
That is
so
such
much,
a man thing, you know?
bro. So someone will come and talk about the boxing, the football. Bro, I was like, oh shit, yes, that's what we just did. But what she added on top, which was really, really cool, is she said, but everyone is running away from talking about something that's a little bit sensitive.
Yeah.
So the joke
Definitely.
So the joke she made was, she went out with her husband and the family one day.
Yeah.
Sorry, and the men and the fax men. And they were all there. And specifically, she looked at my man, one of the other fat guys, and goes, you got a tan. Where have you been? And he goes, me and Pamela, it was our like 20th anniversary. Then he goes to the toilet, and then they all go, did you know he had a wife? Did you know I didn't know he was even married. Obviously, she could be making a joke.
Wow.
But there could be, they say they don't want to touch nothing sensitive. Everyone just wants to talk about their facts.
You know what's interesting is like,
It's really good.
even with like my guys, I'll say this without like putting anybody's business out.
It sounds like you're about to.
I would consider us guys that actually talk. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was having a conversation with one of them. And then they were telling me stuff that was going on in their life.
Right. New things. That
I hadn't heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
And we hadn't necessarily been communicating, but the group that we're in, we've been communicating. And I thought what was interesting is that in this period of time, if you just went by what was in our WhatsApp group, everyone's living their best life.
Everyone's good.
Everyone's good. Yeah. Everyone's gravy. But then when you have, and even another, like at least there's two of them that I've spoken with, and like all of us, we're all going through shit.
Yeah.
Like, we're all going through stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes, especially with your friends that are your friends, you almost take it for granted.
Yeah.
And they're there, and
I think it's interesting where men are concerned in relation to that, and obviously we're being biased towards us, our group. But more than anything else, I think it's because we're all doing something that when you meet up, you just don't want to waste. It's a bad thing, because really maybe you should talk about the thing that's going on with you, but you don't want to waste the time talking about that thing. You just want to enjoy and not burden anyone with X, Y, and Z. I remember when I started the MDC group, which actually is going to probably come to a close soon, because my life is now changing. Yeah. And
but why would you close the group?
Because it has now a different function. In my, you'll see anyway. You'll see. Okay. So we're all gonna link up anyway soon. I'm gonna put a message in. We'll all link up soon. But it was so interesting hearing when I brought the men together for the first time. When someone, and we all, a lot of the, I don't know if you didn't come to the first one, did you?
The first one I didn't come to.
And everyone was like, like, that classic, everyone. Where he goes, one of the lads said, I don't even want to talk about the thing to my wife because she's already dealing with all of this stuff. So I don't even want to burden her with this other energy. So I keep it, so I never ever talk about it. And everyone was like, yeah. Because it's like this. My sister showed me about this as well in her relationship. So one time in their relationship, one person was doing one thing and one person was doing the other thing. And both opposite things, the other one wasn't too happy with. But the reason why the thing was happening was because the other person was doing the other thing.
So one thing triggered the other thing.
Yeah, both are triggering the other thing.
Right.
You get me? I'm listening to music or going to do stuff in the shed because she's always doing the thing over there, but she's doing that because he always goes to the shed.
Yeah. It's so funny.
So it's so interesting when sometimes that's what it takes. It's just a person saying, I'm X, I'm Y. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so interesting, man. I don't know how I've managed.
You know what's funny?
I must be delirious.
What's funny is that we spoke for so long and just not even watched one video.
Oh, serious?
No.
We haven't watched the video. We haven't watched the video.
We haven't watched one video.
And we haven't even introduced ourselves. No. I was already saying in my head, can you just put our names?
That's what I did on the last one.
wasn't an intro.
we were just talking, and I just put the names up because
Yeah.
it's just like,
It's just like, we're
clearly
in
not
it.
introing.
We're in it. Yeah, we're in it.
in the team.
And this is an unprepared.
Yeah,
Both of us. I'm tired as hell.
Mike's tired. I'm unprepared, caught on the back foot. It is what it is.
It is what it is today.
Sometimes you get a pod like
See,
this.
I'm not even hungry. I came to the Chophouse to not
We're
even
not
chop.
chopping. We're not chopping. So even today with the videos, I can't even say that there's a direct theme or anything like that. So we're just gonna look at some random videos, and it might work, it might not. But
This
that
is
is
right as well, by the way.
it is. Yeah,
I feel like it's not right because it says it's got no sweet sugar.
it's got
sweet,
something in
though.
there. It's got
It's
something.
sweet as hell.
Yeah.
And it's trying to
I
be
think,
heavier.
I think it's better than fruit juice. So
Okay.
small mercies, isn't it?
What do you say?
It's better than fruit juice.
Fruit juice, yeah.
All right.
When you come outside with the blue hair, the eyelashes, the makeup, the everything,
Yes.
it just screams like she's just one of those girls, bro.
Hey,
City
girl.
Just one
girls,
of those
like
girls.
stripper
Young Miami.
culture, like that kind of shit.
Can I
Like,
just say one thing to that?
you can't say nothing to that because I'm telling you how guys perceive it. So that's how we perceive it.
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? What are you gonna say
It's
that's gonna
this
negate
fun
what
girl
I'm saying?
I'm an artist, okay? So when I'm on stage, my lyrics, everything that I do, I represent Christ, I represent myself, and I represent
wow.
beauty, and I represent black women that are bosses.
No,
Let
girl.
me land.
Girl,
Let me
no,
land.
you can't land no more.
Why
That
can't I
boss
land no
stuff.
more?
A man does not want a woman who says she's a boss.
Insecure
sweetheart.
men don't want a
No,
boss,
no,
but it's
no
alright.
man. And I'm telling you, men who've conquered the
insecure
world
again.
do not want this. But are they taking you home and saying that's my wife?
Somehow.
There's a difference.
Some have though. That's
No,
why it's
no, 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 no,
closed-minded,
no, no,
though.
no,
It's
no, no, no,
closed-minded, though.
no. You got a rebuttal to everything, but you're not digesting. You're hearing, but not listening. You know why it's important for you to listen?
To you.
No, not to me.
Okay,
To wisdom. So you talked about being a Christian,
Yeah.
but it says the older women need to teach the younger women, and younger women need to listen and be submissive. But you know how many young women are not submissive to what men say? But you say you're a Christian woman.
Okay.
You can't be a Christian woman and buck against what men are saying. That is anti-biblical, is anti-God, is anti-Christ, and it makes you the great whore of Babylon. That's what the
Yikes.
Bible
No, it
talks
doesn't.
about. I was raised in Christian school, Christian college, and I was in church 4 days a week, all day on Sunday.
That doesn't mean anything.
No, it means
All
something
day
when
on
I'm telling you
Sunday.
scripture and you're bucking against it, and it's against the word of God. So don't claim God and Christianity,
against
but your
God?
attitude is bucking, and you cannot be quiet for one moment.
What
But
have I said
don't
that's against
ask me a
God?
question. Respond to what I said.
Okay, so what do you want me to
Don't
respond?
ask me a question. You hear, but you do not
Okay.
listen. If you
Okay.
listened, you would know the questions I asked.
The questions that you ask, I don't really have much to say to them. I'm going to be honest
But
with
don't
you.
claim Christianity if
Okay.
you're not willing to submit to when men are telling you.
I can
A lot of
claim
women are Christian
Christianity.
feminists.
I'm not a feminist.
No, you claim Christianity when it works in your favor,
Not
but you
necessarily.
put down men and say, you're rebellious.
Can I just
You're
ask, when did I
rebellious.
put down a man here?
You're rebellious.
When did I put down
You're
a man?
rebellious, and I'm calling it out.
But when did
You're
I-
rebellious.
but when did I call a
You're
man out?
rebellious.
I'm not.
You're rebellious.
I'm not, babe.
Don't claim Christianity.
It
You're
sounds like
rebellious.
Speak that over me, 'cause
No,
that's
I'm
rebellious.
speaking it over
Don't
you.
speak
Even
that
you
over me.
talking now,
Yeah.
you have no discipline because you can't
Okay.
sit and listen without opening your mouth.
Because I don't feel like
Because
your
you're
points are
rebellious.
valid
No, I'm
to
telling you,
me.
you are antichrist and you are the Jezebel. Whoever has influenced you has told you you need to be this Jezebel and anti and
Okay,
rebellious.
what we're not gonna do,
No,
firstly,
no,
what-
you're not gonna
what
tell
we're not
nobody
gonna
what we're
do,
not gonna
what
do.
we're not gonna
This isn't
do.
your show. Don't
This-
tell nobody
this
what we're
isn't
not
my
gonna do.
show.
Yeah,
This
don't
isn't
tell
your
me what
show
I'm not gonna
either,
do.
though.
No, but I will. You will not tell
But
me
is it
what
your
I'm not
show?
gonna do.
Is it your
Don't tell me
show?
what I'm gonna do.
But is it your show?
No, is it yours?
cool. Okay.
It's his.
His face.
So,
Rebellious.
rebellious.
Bro, there was too much going on in there.
The first thing I'll say
Oh, man.
is that the dude is the worst host ever. So this is his show.
Oh.
This is his show. Although he is, just to give you some context,
That looks Pearly Things vibe.
that's her talent that she manages.
Okay.
Okay. So he records from her studio. That's his show. To allow somebody, obviously I appreciate that this has been edited, okay? But to allow one guest to talk to another guest in that manner for so long, bruh, But yeah, that's my first thing.
Bro, do you have a second?
I got a few.
Okay, cool. Okay, we'll go back and forth. I was confused at a person who was trying to command a certain level of, don't know if respect is the right word, but a certain level of grace, let's call it grace, to be understood, heard, and all of that.
Yeah.
But then wasn't given the same back. And I know, as you said, we've seen in the edited thing, it's like you asked a question, but then you gave a statement. Then you asked another question, then it was statement. Then it became
She went to
set
church.
of facts. Then it was
Facts.
understand my life, my situation, what I've understood. And it was like, wait, hold on a second. The girl who has been asked a question first and foremost, she's doing really, really well. Just being so chill, her voice, everything. And I was like, what was the aim of the interaction? Was it to ask the question and get an answer? Or was it to be heard? If it was, then brother, it was just confusing to me. I didn't know the end goal of that moment or that energy, because no one is ever going to respond in a way that's going to be positive to how that woman was speaking, even if he was trying to teach.
You know what the thing is, at this point as well, though, I don't actually have any sympathy for anybody there. So even the girl with the blue hair, and again, I'm acknowledging this is an edited video, so maybe I may take the time to watch the episode, but to allow yourself to get dominated in such a way when you know, right, at this point in time, we know the MO of these types of
she's
shows.
trying not to be salacious. She's trying to make sure that she's got some decorum as a person and not allowing the situation to rile her up or to turn into something
What
else.
I actually would have done in her position is I actually wouldn't have said anything at all, right? And I would have let this woman run and run and run. Because even in her little run there, we are making all of our assumptions and we are learning so much about this type of person. Imagine you're sitting there schooling this woman about what men want. I don't see the ring on your finger.
So now that's the other part that I was coming to talk about. This notion of what she feels. Like the first part of it was number one before it started going off the rails for me, was just like, who says this woman, unless that's the conversation that they're having, has to have her worth, ideas, thoughts connected to the idea of being married?
Yeah. But again, I guess for these guys, that is the kind of central point of a lot of their conversation is like...
But was that... Okay, we'll have to have more context. Yeah. But the reason why I cut it was that if that was the notion, I'm looking for a man and it's not working, and the reason why it's not working, I'm trying to figure it out. Can you help me? That's a different conversation to... But she called her Jezebel,
Whore of Babylon,
Antichrist.
How are we not singing? Swinging. We're swinging, but you can't talk to me like that.
Honestly, it's just words though, isn't it? Like, no, what she did, I rate it. Everyone can have their opinion.
Yeah.
She already said she's an artist. She moves in a particular way. Bruv, the way I move, certain people are like, why you do that way? It's because this is how I do what I do. It's like, that's fair. But in this particular circumstance, like, if she'd walked in for that advice, then cool. But I don't understand why there's this culture now of trying to pass off an opinion and an idea, but then if it's like the actual idea that you want to put into the picture or the zone for everyone to kind of discuss, no one else is allowed to do the same thing and can be the opposite.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
That's what creates healthy debate. That's what creates the opportunity to move forward, because you don't know other lady who's not with the blue hair. There might be something that you could draw from in that regard. If we all stay really, really locked in with our thought processes, nothing progresses. Because there is no way even that woman who was sitting there, if we was to go by the Bible and all of these different things that have been said probably in the Old Testament, that woman couldn't be moving like that.
No.
But things have moved forward. We've taken and we've understood that certain things aren't what they were, or at least a society now have chosen not to deem those things as the most important thing to hold as an opinion, especially in relation to women. Because there is so many different things that someone could bring from the church to subjugate that woman.
Yeah.
And it's like, where did all the progression go? Like, where was the the open space for another woman to be able to speak. And then it got connected to men. It's so totally confusing.
But even the opening statement from the guy, and he's like, what man wants a woman with blue hair, this, that, and the other.
Someone will want her.
But also, my first thing is, as the girl, yeah, I'd be looking at my guy and being like, who is looking for a man with a do-rag and a gold tooth? Like, and again, I'm not even saying that to say that there's anything wrong with a do-rag on a gold tooth.
And I will say the same thing. There will be someone who wants a guy with a do-rag and a gold tooth.
And that's the point. So what gives you the right to sit there
that is what it...
and point out these things on me?
And this is what I think I always struggle, because essentially, in part, we are doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah,
We're discussing a set of people and giving our layer. But this is what I always say. It's just my opinion. It's my personal point of view. Disagree. We disagree from time to time.
Yeah.
It's important.
But I think what the difference is, and it's something that you picked, as you said earlier on, talking about debate. And I think the difference is that a lot of these pods and a lot of these shows are now created with a commercial goal in mind. And that's, we're talking numbers and volume and whatnot have you. So in order to achieve that, you have to say and do the things that will get eyeballs. I mean, look at us. We are those extra eyeballs as well, that will get the eyeballs onto you. So now it becomes less about debate. So if you think about the premise for us, we're like, camera or not, we would sit down and talk and discuss these things. And it may be that our particular podcast doesn't hit 1 million or but I would rather maintain the authenticity of the debate and the conversation. Whereas I feel like, and that's not to say that all people that hit those numbers are losing of the authenticity of what it is that they're doing. But my personal opinion, especially coming out of the Pearl school of podcasts, is that the authenticity of debate and the art of conversation is second to the algorithm and what will trend and the numbers. And I think that's what's doing a disservice to podcasts in general and debate as well.
But I would challenge that, only not that you're incorrect, that the advancement is just about car crash television.
Yeah.
In all regards.
Yeah.
But you hit a few points that I wanted to kind of lock in. So I said I wasn't probably, I can't remember which episode, but I wasn't too prepared to comment on the format.
Right, yeah.
I didn't know.
That was very early days.
Yeah, I said, let me check it out.
I made the slavery reference.
Yeah, and I was like, whoa, what the hell?
Whoa.
What I've understood now, seeing the content a little bit more, and really what I've noticed just about me being in different spaces and definitely hearing masses of different opinion, is the notion of the straw man. And that's what I think I can comment on it now. When they do their podcasts, you'll be talking about a particular situation, then eventually they start bringing the straw man in front of you. Yeah? And they push it. So now we're talking about this thing. They always manage to center it to start talking about men, women, gender, submission, red pill. Like, no matter what, you're going to get funneled into that. And that's been a big problem with me in certain conversations where I've actually said to other friends, like, I'm just going to stop talking with you on these particular things now. Because no matter what, you're always going to bring it to this particular thing. And no one's going to win. No one's getting the opportunity to learn. No one's getting the opportunity to understand. And that's what they continue to build in what I see. No matter what, you could go in there to talk about... anything. And then instantly we'll be drawn into a conversation surrounding red pill. Then the second thing that I wanted to kind of lock in, it made me think about Joe Rogan and how Joe Rogan is a podcast I watch seldomly. The reason why is because it's like Reddit. Yeah, Reddit is content that's based on interest.
Right.
So you go into Reddit with your interest. So you go in with a mindset first. And then you search for said mindset and then you watch it.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're going to get like-minded individuals, right?
Yeah.
Or at least content that kind of bleeds into some thought or some idea that you have. And that's why I watch Joe Rogan seldomly, because it depends on who he's having on.
Yes.
Because it's always going to be an open, well, more often than not, it's always going to be an open conversation extracting interest out of another individual.
Yeah.
So it allows you to go in and out of these things. Whereas this is just like, we just want to create the biggest moment possible.
Yeah.
And we want to talk and show our community, you see,
Yeah.
this is how they are. So I've clocked what they're doing now. And yeah, it's fun for a while. I remember I started watching, when we was watching those other brothers, what's their names? Talk about this. Let's think about this. My man, think about this. What's his name?
Fresh and fit.
Fresh and Fit. Oh, I remember at first, yeah.
Exactly how
Think
it
about
was.
this. Yeah. I was watching the content at first like, raw.
Yeah.
Is man going like, you know what I mean? I was like, yo. I remember sitting there for the first time, then eventually I just was like, yeah, man, them man are doing the same thing. Every time they want to, what's the Punisher? I forgot what the Frank Castle.
Yeah.
They want to turn, Myron wants to turn into Frank
Yeah,
Castle. And
yeah.
I just was like, okay, cool. I'm getting it. It's a show. There's characters. And then I was thinking, okay, I'm going so deep now. And most recently, I've been thinking about Joe Budden's podcast and what he's trying to do. And I'm like, he is trying to be Howard Stern.
Like,
He's
just
brought-
shocking.
He's brought in Flip now.
Yeah.
And Flip is the oddity
Yeah.
Yeah.
in terms of the vibe. And then you don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And that's how Stern used to do his thing.
Okay. So I've never really.
I looked at it like that the
Yeah.
other day. Like, I was like, but I like it. You know, Joe Budden is one of my favorite podcasts. But like, you can see that he's trying to build something that has a longevity. And Howard Stern is a space where you go, and it's had longevity, but you go to be shocked and awed. You're going to find the most.
Okay.
So I'm starting to see, these things, the more and more that we're watching them, they're becoming shows.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They are
They are.
formulas. They're definitely formulas.
And
The thing, what I would like to hear you guys talk about as black men is the low hanging fruit of going at black women. And I feel like that's a trope that we see, especially in like new media. It seems to be very easy to cast the black woman as the Jezebel. It was interesting that she even said those words, because it's like, yeah, that seems to be a common thread within the red pill world. It's always a black woman that is like the central kind of figure to be pelted at. They always go back to her.
do you know what I think is interesting about kind of Pearl and what she does and what she's been doing is, when you look back to her early videos, it's a little bit diverse now, but when you look back to the early stuff she was doing when she was in The Other Place, most of the guests were black. So black men and black women, right?
Yeah.
And so then you have a show where you're the white host, you're generally surrounded by black people. And remember, optics is a thing, right? So you then sit down and say, why would a woman get married when why would a man get married knowing that a woman can take everything he wants and not give him access to his child? Now, you're talking in broad terms in terms of a man and a woman, but you're also talking in a room surrounded by black men and black women. And what you're going to get from that is a black perspective on it, like whichever way you look at it.
Fair.
And so from very early on, I've always just found this thing very insidious. So when we go back to that last podcast that I spoke about, the first podcast when I brought her up and I mentioned the slavery thing, and maybe I didn't form it correctly or whatnot have you, but it was like, it's coming from, if I'm being honest, quite an emotional place. It was just like, I don't like this.
You're seeing our people being the fodder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And what happens all too easily, but I understand it. I don't know this King Richez guy, but you obviously, I'm assuming, have been a guest on a show. You got to know Paul, and you've got this opportunity. Oh, shame on me. You got this opportunity to have your own show, and you know the YouTube numbers are sexy and alluring and whatnot have you. But I don't know, even just watching that clip, right, and not being there, I don't know how you could be there and not feel comfortable at how this woman went at this woman, like just off the like.
Yeah, I mean,
That's why I said my first thing was he's a horrible host.
yeah, I mean, I think trying to kind of stay in your question, Nana. I don't know. I don't know whether I sit on two sides of it.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is like, I guess, the energy of, well, don't get pulled out of your zone. Do you know what I mean? So first and foremost, don't go on the platform like that, right?
Yeah.
And then the other element to that is, you know, stay righteous in yourself to not get drawn out into those kind of conversations. But then the other argument is, why does a woman have to do that? Why does a black woman specifically have to always be judged first? That this is because that's what was happening. The girl was calm, she was relaxed, but she was getting drawn out as, you see, that's the problem with you. You're not being submissive. You're just trying to push back. I don't see you. It's like, why is that the initial energy? And it's tough because in part, that first one, that the first point I made is in total opposite, because she has to sometimes prepare and look after herself. And in that energy comes out as aggression, or when it's just passion, or when you've been pulled out and drawn out on that stupid little observation constantly. And so now you've hit your mark, your limit, and you're like, nah, I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah.
I think it's so unfair because it just happens across the board, and I don't want to make it purely a male thing as well, because we are talking about women. But like, I always think about just being a man in those circumstances and the energy it takes to be defensive and offensive. Like sometimes I have to protect my energy. Sometimes I have to be on the attack.
Yes.
Because you have to deal with the energy that's coming in front of you. It's like, you're just trying to be a human. You're just trying to be a productive individual. But today someone's going to test you on this.
Yes.
And so then you're being offensive. Or today someone's going to test you on this and you're going to be defensive. It's challenging that we have to do it in the first place. So I don't know what the answer is. But the thing I would say about that particular show is, Russell. Not that I think the slavery thing is a good example, because I don't think it's very, very good. These people are walking into that space on their own. Slaves definitely didn't have that opportunity.
You don't need to go down the Kanye.
Talk to Kanye, because Kanye can say it anyway.
Yeah.
So in that particular scenario, it's like, I'm just instantly drawn to Adam 22's current situation. Has anyone been following that?
Yeah.
No, I've not.
Yeah.
So break that down quickly.
So all that's happened is there's a huge contingent of regular faces that have left. But the reasons they have left is because of, I guess, a new mindset that Adam has now figured out he wishes to go down, a new route.
Yeah.
And in talking to these particular guests, something came out. It was a joke, and I'm not going to repeat it. If anyone wants to go find it, you can find it. It was a joke, but he didn't do nothing, bruv. He just laughed because he got the joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
But bro, the joke,
Was it a racial joke?
yes, fully racial. He had a racist, but he had quite a racist suggestive panel on.
Okay.
People who could have had a particular viewpoint.
Okay.
And obviously he's got big off of the back of
Yeah.
The black culture.
interviewing rappers.
Yeah.
Although he has admitted that's like the subculture. He isn't really about hip hop. He was more about bikes.
Bikes,
And, sometimes they
skateboarding,
go hand
you know.
in hand.
Well, hip hop and the energy.
That's more lucrative though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hip-hop.
So what's ended up happening overall from that particular joke is that these regular faces have said, "No, we can't rock with that." But then in the, I guess, trying to deal with it, they spoke to him, and then Adam went, "The thing's cancelled. Your show's cancelled or whatever, or you know, take time or something like that." And then they were like, "Yo, we're coming to talk to you on a level here, but you're coming to just, you know." And now, bruv, not that it's crumbling, because I wouldn't say it's all the way crumbled, but he's feeling the heat.
Good.
Do you know what I mean? And those reckonings are not for us to determine. It's whether or not Pearl will be called out in it on one day, where it's like, wait, hold on a second. Where's your people in all of this?
Yeah.
You're not talking to, because I think that is worthy of a question.
Yeah.
and even if it was a programming choice, which it could easily be, she's going, I have picked, because they did that in Jerry Springer. They're picking particular people out, Maury.
Yeah.
They're picking particular people out to get the energy. When Jerry used to hit the bell, bing, bing, people started fighting.
Start fighting.
Do you know what I mean? Like where people in the crowd say, you're talking to a particular audience.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, more power to the idea of people making choices. Because whatever those choices are, you will deal with the said consequences. And that's it. And that's what I think is totally an affront to what that woman was talking about. That blue-haired lady could choose to do whatever she wants because you can do the same. And if we're both living in the same planet, why are you telling her all of this stuff? You can just say, okay, cool. From my point of view, from the road I'm on, I don't think you're moving right. She can think that too. Okay, cool.
And then you just go your separate ways. But to actively insult her like that, and then basically call her anti-Christ, anti-Christian, all of that is just, it's just disgusting.
So wild.
But
it's scary to know.
Do you know what?
I'm
gonna find out the blue-haired woman and see what she's saying on her socials.
I think what's funny is that I think this week someone might have shown me her.
Oh really?
As a singer.
As a singer? Okay.
Oh really?
I have a feeling. Yeah, I'll double check.
Yeah.
But I got sent something. I was like, that looks familiar. And she's meant to be a really, really good singer. But yeah, I mean,
imagine that you didn't even get to even speak about. And it's like she was shut down at every point that she tried to make. It was, you can't say nothing.
I'm actually really intrigued to go and find the episode
to see if they let her talk.
To see if they let her talk and see if she was able to.
Yeah, I think that's just what I find weird about this whole content thing is, like, no one wants to hear another person's opinion.
No.
Even when it's like that's the whole point. That's why we have opposite sides of every track. That's why even in a debate, I've been on a debate squad and had to debate things I didn't truly believe in.
Yeah, that's the art of debate.
Exactly.
It should literally be that.
What was it called?
I keep on thinking this space of podcasting reminds me of Twitter 2012.
This current moment. Yeah.
It feels like we're back there. And for everybody participating, they should think of what Twitter, when it resurfaced and people were losing their jobs, they should think about that.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, I think about it all the time. I'm always not censoring myself, but I'm always trying to make sure balance is a part of my thought process.
Yes.
And if there is a hill that I'm going to die on the hill that you have made.
Yeah, truly believe.
You truly believe all the way. Don't want to get misconstrued. But then also at the same time, it's challenging because everyone makes mistakes.
And this climate that we're in can be unforgiving when it comes to mistakes.
I think that's what people need to think about. But these are, when it's out in the zeitgeist and you follow through on it, when that tide changes, just remember what you were party to and what you did.
Yeah, man. And I think the hill that I will die on is let people do their thing. As long as they're not harming no one. Do you know what I mean? If you're doing something and it's bothering another person, you need to consider what you're doing. Yeah. First and foremost, you just might not be with your people. Yeah. Because if there's another person who will take that, that's your that's your thing. But then just be kind. Focus on the fact that if you want to have a certain freedom, the other person also has that freedom. The two can't coalesce. It's so strange that we're just in this world now.
It's the thing of people wanting to be right, though.
Yeah. I would rather be wrong on a lot of things because all of a sudden I get the opportunity to learn something.
And that's really underrated. Like one of the things that I always said when I was like employed working, I was like, one thing about me is that if I get something wrong, I'll put my hands up and say, do you know what? I've got this wrong. And generally, especially in a workplace, there is a culture of doubling down on the thing that you've done wrong because you don't want to expose yourself and make yourself look incompetent. But I just feel like we all get to where we need to go quicker when somebody is able to say, oh, I didn't know that. I got that wrong. Sorry. And then we re-maneuver. And then, now if you keep getting it wrong time after time after time after time, maybe that's a problem.
You're going to get sacked.
You're going to get sacked. Right?
It's very, very clear.
But then also it's like, well, maybe you just shouldn't be in that job. It is what it is.
It's not for you,
But you have to be able to say like, okay, I didn't know that and be open to learning something. Whereas now we've all bought these microphones, we've all got these cameras, and we're all right.
Yeah, I think my latest pet peeve, and I haven't been in employed work for a long time. Contracted, yes, but like to say that I'm employed.
Yeah.
But more than anything else, bro, is as I walk further up the space of experience. So not like be out here being the best, nah, just experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as I continue to walk in this road, people dealing, my new pet peeve is dealing with people's insecurity in that moment.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I've said, I want to try and say it nice, but I don't know if I'm going to say it wrong to you.
Say it.
If I go, yeah, actually, I could just say it like this because it's clear. Russ, yeah, man, my shoes, you know, I really enjoy these shoes. They're the latest shoes that I've got. And they go, like, this is just an example. It's a crap example. What, you think my shoes are bad?
Bad, yeah.
Bro, I wasn't talking about your shoes. And now we get into a whole, you was thinking that before I got here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's an experience from another situation or a tone I've used that reminds you of a particular scenario, like I cannot always be prepared, ready to respond exactly to what's going on
It's
with
exhausting.
you because you have a lot of other things that I just don't know.
Yeah.
So that's my latest pet peeve. It's just like, but experience makes me go, okay, cool, let's take a moment and let's discuss. And then what ends up happening is sometimes you can try and discuss it, but then now they offend you. so now you're in an offending match. Where first and foremost, I was never ever talking about it. I was never considering about it. I was talking about me, my thing, and what was going on. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully it was received. But yeah, you can't always be ready for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you just have a bad day and then you flip out on them. But more than anything else, that's my latest pet peeve. It's just that, yeah, everyone can only ever be in their skin. So they're only ever experiencing the world from their experience, regardless of what you say. And then that's the other part, is that I know I cannot choose how a person responds to, reacts, and or deals with what I've said or what I do.
Yeah.
So you have to sometimes do that and just say, I'm wrong. Put your hands up and say, yeah, I said it incorrectly. I read it incorrectly. Apologize. But then also at the same time, you have to try and put in there, come on now.
Yeah.
In part, I wasn't even ever talking about you. Do you know what I mean? I was never ever considering that part of your story. And even though it might be difficult, it might be hard, and I'm sorry for that, I didn't know.
Do you think human beings have just become like way more like self-obsessed?
No, I just think that our feelings have had a better opportunity of being expressed through social media. These things have always been here. Anxiety, stress, depression. We're seeing it magnified because of said tools and things around. But I would just say more people can
lead
talk.
to an obsession. So because you are now able to express so freely on all of these platforms, and you've been, everyone's told like free speech, blah 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 blah, and so there's no one to check you. So now you're obsessed with.
But then who's the checker?
Yeah, because if everybody's doing the same thing, I think there's something to it. But who has the lens to do the checking when everybody is in the same
You see?
place?
Okay. So now we can be historical with it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
At one stage it was Caesar.
Yeah.
At one stage it was the church.
Yeah.
At one stage it was a leader of some kind. Right? Yeah? You could have all of these circumstances which just keep people in balance. And I mean,
or where they are.
Their
pecking order, basically.
The pecking order, right? So unfortunately, that has been some parts what has kept things locked in, is that there has been said go-to person who defines the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people require them.
Yeah.
Some people go against them. Some people don't even opt in. But that's what it is. It's like, it's so crazy because when you look at it all, it's all just a bunch of people going, okay, cool, I'll adhere to that. Like every law on this planet, anyone could break.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but we've chosen to say this is civilization.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there is so many different ways you could attack that question. Because unfortunately, I think where we are now is everyone's got an opinion. But I think the best way to give an opinion is just to be informed. It is okay to say, I don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll get back to you on this.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you on this.
That's the ones like, let me find it out.
Yeah. And if I don't know, let me go talk to someone
Yeah.
who knows. And then you can get two different opinions if you like.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think about feelings? Just as you were saying, I was thinking, I always feel like people don't. I think people don't know the difference between a feeling arising and assessing a reality. Like, it's like I have a feeling, so this is reality.
That's a line. Because if we delve now, probably going a little bit too deep, maybe for this podcast. But essentially, that is reality. Whatever a person is thinking and feeling is their reality.
Yeah, see, that's probably the opposition, because I'm like, no, a feeling can come so fleeting from it could literally be coming from past and dropping in to present, and you think this is my present, but actually it was just traveling.
So, unfortunately,
and so if you go through with it, then it becomes your present.
Unfortunately, the body don't care.
Yeah,
the body don't care. The body, whether it's flight or fight, the body is saying the thing's happening. The thing's happening.
Yeah.
You can't control that. It's going to give you whatever drug it is to do the thing, whether it's going to be to attack. So that's the issue with the body. The body's always just trying to protect itself.
Yes.
It's always trying. Like, I think the best way to describe this is virtual reality. So we're working on one show. One of the guys that's in our project, he goes, I've got some stuff for us to check out. And at the time, people now know it as an Oculus or whatever.
Yeah.
Put it on. I put it on.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes, walk this plank. Bruv, I know where I am. Yeah. I'm walking on the floor. But I'm like, let me walk. I know. I'm trying. My body said, no.
No. You're going to fall.
No. Stay right here. We're safe. What you doing? Freak me out till I don't walk. I know, bruv. I know. So there is that. And you should give people who find themselves in them spaces all of the latitude to try and support them. But the thing I cannot take is if that then becomes the thing.
Yeah.
And everyone has to adhere to it. Everyone needs to understand it. No, we need to take a moment to go, this is a challenging situation I'm in. And I think that's really what you're talking about. Some people don't know how to deal with those feelings.
Yes.
But in that circle, sorry, just to let me land. The whore of Babylon. I love the let me land line. Like, that's the difference for me in that moment where I was in that VR.
Yeah.
Is if I freaked out and wilded out and everyone started grabbing people, that's the issue there. Like, take that moment or take that time to just say to yourself, I am okay. This is not that circumstance, but it's so difficult. And that's what I'm thinking. It's when it's someone's reality, it's their reality. And that's the end of it. But then it's working on your feelings at the end of the day.
I think that's it. I think it is.
Everyone has to understand we have the responsibility for ourselves.
Yes.
Let's start there. And I mean, look, in part, this is an opinion. It's not a rule. But like, that's where I try to start. I try to start in the space of, let me understand myself best.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can respond to said situations in the best way that would deem possible. And like I said, I can die on that hill at the end of the day. If they turn around and say, no, the way you did so-and-so, I said, look, that was my best guess at the time.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I think the thing that I was going to say was, like, when it comes to feelings and how people's, your feelings are your feelings, and does it have an impact in the real world? It also depends on the person. So, for example, if you're working a job and your manager is led by their feelings, okay, that's not necessarily a good way to manage, because you have to be rooted in the reality of the job, but then what is happening. But
then have those circumstances, then therefore the rules of the game have been defined. So there's HR.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? That I think.
So what I'm saying is that a manager acting like that, they're gonna act like that until HR gets involved and has to do what they're going to do. But that doesn't stop the damage that they can cause
100%.
in the process, you know? And so that's what I'm saying. So it's like the higher up you are, essentially, the more valid your feelings are, even if they're wrong, because it's going to take a lot more for your feelings to be challenged. Because sometimes your feelings will go unchallenged because people are like, nah,
Can't challenge it. Yeah.
Now let me go the other way. And maybe this is a little bit more divisive. I think as Ashantis,
oh gosh, you went there.
Go on, this is a clip. Go on.
I think as Ashantis,
Yeah.
there is a certain level of energy that is put towards being stoic.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the other side of that coin. So when I specifically, learning from my parents, specifically my dad, my mom's a little bit more, you know?
Yeah.
But my dad's very, very stoic.
Yeah.
The other part is me having no emotion and dealing with said situation in a very, very cool and logical way. It comes off as, oh, you have no feelings.
Yeah.
You can't win.
Yeah.
Would you say I suffer from that affliction?
Yeah.
You see, Ashanti.
Yeah.
So I would say that that's a definite big part of our culture. Well, you going to say something?
I was going to say, but then just thinking about that, and then when you think about the video that I showed you before we started, that was the Garman.
Yeah.
that was like all the emotion. Yeah. All the emotion.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And look, let's not be, because there are Gar people who are Gar, and I'm Gar.
Oh no, obviously we're labouring in stereotypes.
You know, I'm Gar as well.
Yeah, we're labouring in stereotypes.
It's like,
it is
that is definitely part of this balancing act.
Yeah.
Of when to push, when to pull. Because that's the other side of that tone. When a person doesn't use feelings in those circumstances, and then the work person goes, but you should have more feelings towards me. Look at the life I'm having. Yeah. I remember when I used to work, bruv, I was at the workplace and they said, oh, we need some other help down there. Like down the road, I was on Oxford Circus. Dulcie's.
Oh my gosh.
Dulcie. It don't exist no more.
No.
Yeah, man. I used to work on Dulcie's, at Dulcie's. So I went down the road and I remember this woman came out.
Say again?
Dulcie's.
No, Dulcie's.
Is it Dulcis?
It's DOLCIS.
Yeah.
Dulcis.
Okay.
Media, I'm the language student, but okay.
Hey, are you a language
So
student?
how did you say it? How did you say it?
Bruv, you just said A-level, bruv.
So,
you didn't go to no...
Don't disrespect my A-level.
I'm not disrespecting it. The way you spoke was like you went to PhD level. That's what I'm saying.
Dulcet.
We all did fucking A-level.
No, we didn't all do A-level.
I did.
I did A-levels.
English language.
Not English language.
This is what I'm talking about.
I did English lit.
Shit.
You there.
But I did English lit. I thought English lit was better than English language.
That's what everyone told you.
I don't know.
That's what everyone told you.
It was like language was the easy. I'm just saying that was the stereotype.
Wait, Russell, no.
You're not trying to call me out my character.
Nah, my guy. You had a whole friggin' moment on what's the Terry Wogan thing back in the day?
What?
Points of view. About
went there.
40 what?
You went there,
43.
You went there, brother.
You did English language. You went 33. What?
33.
33.
Yeah.
Let the people them know English language. Let them know.
Okay.
Let them know.
All right, let me land. Let me land.
Fully.
Right, okay. So, English language isn't about speaking the Queen's English. It's about
Move away, you know.
Yo, let's start that again.
Shit.
Yo, that woke me up, bro. That woke me up. I said,
this is getting tasty. So English language isn't about speaking the Queen's English perfectly.
Okay.
English language is about understanding how people communicate, the way they communicate, why people in the south of the country talk a certain way, why people do you see what I'm saying? It's about understanding language as a whole.
Okay.
So yeah, up yours. And
so
up
did
yours.
you learn about pronunciation? Because how do you know that it's Dulcie and not Dulcies?
Because I know.
All right. Shit.
Okay,
Because I know.
There's just some things you just know.
I would
innit?
say, but there's two of us in here that are saying it the same way.
So does that mean that you can't be wrong?
No, we
we can
totally,
be.
I can be wrong.
Yeah, and
But-
you are.
Okay,
Okay.
fine. Can I continue to tell the
Yeah,
story?
sure.
Yes.
I don't even know if it matters anymore. Does it even matter?
Exactly.
So all I was gonna say was just I was working up there, and this woman, she came out, she said she had a smoke,
Yeah.
and she was like, "Oh, you know, like, how can he ask me to do this? How can he ask me to do that? It's too much work. I got to get home to my husband. I got to cook and clean." And she was going in. I was like, "Leave. If this is such a problem to you, leave." Some people, I don't think,
But we
have the opportunity to
you don't.
to I want to finish the point.
Yeah,
just
go.
for context.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, some people just don't have the opportunity to move in a way that our minds are kind of talking.
True.
And that's just fair.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
it is. All I was gonna say is you reminded me of a situation I was just telling Nana about the other day when I was working, and I remember I was given this project to run, and I was meeting with a head of another service in the council, and he was late to the meeting. He really turned up about like 15 minutes late. Yeah, and when he got there, it was like he apologized for being late, and basically he had just found out that he was being made redundant. And
He was like, "Why are you even here?"
this was like, an older man, right?
Mhm.
And he was so upset and flustered.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt empathy for him, obviously, in the moment. But the other thing that it made me feel like was just like, hey, I can't be you, you know. What? Why is that funny? Why
are you laughing?
Why you were laughing?
I know why I was laughing.
Why were you laughing?
Because, bruv, you said you didn't want to be a whole guy.
Yeah, no. All right.
Yeah, no, all right.
No, yes, I did. I looked at him and I was
That's
like, I don't want to.
sad as
Because
hell.
what it is, I'm linking it to what you were saying. Obviously, it's not easy for the woman just to up and leave.
Mm.
And so, in this situation where the man has been forced to leave,
Mhm.
and all of the things in your life that are directly attached to your job,
Mm.
so you have children in uni and this, that, and the other,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was just like I just didn't like that dependency
Yeah,
on a job and somebody else
Yeah.
just being able to
I mean,
turn your life upside down.
that's always going to either be the case on a particular project, contract,
Yeah.
whatever. But I think when I look at that and when I think about everything Nana proposed to us, it's this concept of identity.
Mhm.
You know, like what had fueled that woman's mindset to claim all of those thoughts as
Yes.
her identity?
Yes.
You know, that's the powerful aspect.
Mm.
Because then now, once you've got that identity, and maybe the lady with the blue hair, she just never even connected with anything that they said. She knows who she is.
Right.
Yeah.
She knows what she's about. She knows she's none of these things. She knows she's a woman of God or whatever you want to class it. So that's cool. And that's what I think more people need to focus on.
A final point on this. I was just thinking about when you went on the show.
Yeah.
So I was
Wow.
with a friend yesterday and we were writing, and then it came up and I was talking about how when Nana was on the show and the comment section again. And after a while I had to switch off because I was getting
Vexed with the comments.
vexed with the comments. But it really just kind of makes me think, what's the word? In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, right?
Mhm.
So these people sitting up here are like, oh, we've got this niche of red pill and high value men and whatnot have you. And then very early on, and maybe this is probably one of the reasons why it was personal for me, is like, people are like, oh, I feel sorry for her husband and this, that, and the other. And it was like, imagine like the only woman on that panel that is married and hasn't even been married for like a few months or a year, has been married for 10 years, has been in a relationship for 20 something years. Okay. So essentially she is, all right, what you lot are aspiring to.
So did that ever come out in the conversation?
Nah, because again, it went down
What was
another
the
rabbit hole.
arguing, that point?
You could have just shut the whole thing down by saying, I've been married and I've been with the same
But
partner
then
for...
also you sound
I've
like
got
a cunt
kids.
when you. Sorry,
I know, but I did.
But you do sound like a bit of a...
in that. I'm trying to think. So the first time we went on, that was me and Sade that went on, and that one was about men cheating, and they just couldn't. They couldn't really come at us because we were being very stoic and just answering questions. So, and also the only person in a relationship was me. So by the end of it, the chief cheater was like, you know, I really respect you. And I was just like, all right, yeah. Because I could see his manipulation game. The second time, it wasn't really focused on relationships. We were talking about fathers paying.
That was it, yeah.
Fathers paying for children that they don't want.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, the majority of people in there was like, no, they shouldn't pay because a woman can have an abortion.
Oof.
So, you know when it's just one of those...
It's done.
It's one of those lame convos,
It's
but
done.
it's because they couldn't box it in another way because I was the only one there being vocal. There was another girl and she decided I'm not going to talk.
At all.
It's like it was... Yeah, but it's this, and then I would just counter it. Yeah, but it's this. So it wasn't a productive conversation.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, they were all like, "That wasn't a good episode," because it wasn't. Because you can't literally belittle me because I'm the only one again in the room that is actually in a relationship and married. So we're just going back and forth. So it doesn't really work. That's why the next time when she asked me, I was like, for me to come back onto your platform, it's a performance for me. You have to pay me. And it's fine, I'll come back on. I'll argue with whoever, but you have to pay me, and it's a minimum of £200.
So she liked you?
Because I'm going to argue. I'm going to debate, but you have to pay me. It's a performance. Ooh. I'm not doing free labour for her to be on 1 million subscribers, probably hitting clean 50 grand a month. Like, you have to pay me.
Definitely possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, wow. Those set of circumstances are really challenging now to hear in relation to her platform because it has been very black people heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to know if she has a black partner.
Well,
I think she's single at the moment.
Her ex is a black guy.
Okay.
Have we ever spoke about this?
No.
We'll save that for another pod.
Okay. Yeah, I think that there is a lot of because eventually, yeah, it will come. There should be a question. Someone should question her and say, "Why is it that your space?" And I don't know whether we finished the Adam 22 commentary all the way, but yeah, why is your space filled with people who do not look like you? Is there a reason?
Yeah.
Not that there's a problem.
There's not a problem. There's not
Yeah.
a problem, but there's definitely because the way things generally work. So I put on a party or event, and you come there and you know that
It's a reflection.
It's a reflection.
Yeah.
So I just want to know because now it seems like you actively have gone out to find a certain set of people.
But then
it may not be that.
But then are the people from that particular not giving her some bail, so to speak, because I just want to try and stay as
no,
impartial
but it
as possible.
is like if there's another.
Are people seeing that as the come up, the opportunity? They're using her to get the thing they want to get out of it.
And this is also the thing that frustrates me because I 100% believe that's true. But even when Nana was on it, and I was like, and I've said this again just recently, very simple things, right? So if I'm going on this platform, right, and I'm going to sit there for 2 or 3 hours, I'm going to give you free labor as I debate against all of these people. Even in the description below the video, you won't put my Instagram handle.
Okay.
That's the easiest way that anybody can find
promo.
me.
Yeah.
But the only time I get promo is at the end of the 2 to 3 hours. And when you go, okay, say your name and no.
But I think we're giving her and the idea of what she's doing a little bit too much energy, if I'm honest.
You know what the funny thing is? It's always because you see things and you're like, that's wrong. Yeah. But then I'm always conflicted whenever we talk about her. Because I'm like, I don't want to give this woman the...
But you know why I'm saying it?
Go on.
Because now I'm more interested in what they do outside of that time. So is there other ways she's adding to the communities, dealing with some of these subjects, supporting other groups to support women, men?
I don't know.
You know, let your energy permeate other spaces to help support people and growth. If that's what you're trying to do, then more power to you. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not too sure. I haven't heard much of what she's doing outside of that.
I wouldn't say that's become evidence. But in the same way with Adam 22, it's like people were always leveling culture vulture at him. And now it's like we're seeing, can you carry on without your black brethren?
But that's the issue though. It's you can take that off. It's a jacket. To the black culture in those circumstances are a jacket, because that's really what became Adam's fall.
Yeah, it was kind of
is
what
that
he
he's
was
like, okay,
beginning to do,
I want to change the lens now.
Yeah.
I've grown up. I've got new ways of thinking, which everyone should be allowed to have.
Yeah.
But that's the difference, is it? We can't take this jacket off.
Yeah.
And I think that's also like when you talk about the Tim Westwoods and the Charlie Sloths, that's also the thing as well. So it's not even Tim, right? So it's not taking away from what they may have brought to the culture, but it's a thing of like, you can always walk away.
I mean, Tim is a little bit different.
I was going to say he's the
than
worst.
Charlie Sloth.
Yeah.
Charlie Sloth, at least, when I was doing my thing, Charlie Sloth was about.
No,
there's a couple of people that I know there was about. Like, so I give, like, Hattie Collins is another woman.
Yeah.
She was about, when we were there, Hattie was there.
Let me clarify something. Like, it's not the first time I've done it where I've put Charlie's name in the same
Chantel Fiddy. I got to make sure I say Chantel Fiddy too.
Yeah.
Chantel Fiddy. I cannot say Hattie Collins and not say Chantel Fiddy, but yeah.
But I put Charlie's name in the same sentence as Tim, and it's literally only on a color basis. I do accept that Charlie is a completely different.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I'm literally just saying it on the level of a white man in the space.
Yeah, we all know that they can walk into a different setting.
Yes.
And there might be a whole other community who would not even connect that he's going to be there pressing bombs.
Yeah.
And say, let's go. Come on, bro. You know what I mean? He could just walk in and they'll just be like, they would be none the wiser to the fact that he's Charlie Sloth. Yeah. He could just say, my name's Charles.
Yes.
And that's the end of it. And I think he knows that.
Yeah.
He
I think so. I think so. It's very different. It's when you're just taking. And it's like being an Ed Sheeran as opposed to somebody else. Ed knows of his privilege and also then will be like, I will lend my name to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Those are the differences, because he knows this. He knows it's a big leg up him getting the black approval. So then you stay in black spaces. It's when people just use it and then they go. You know that Pearl, for one, she's not in her country. She could just leave here, go to America and get a talk show and never speak to another black person again. Yeah. Very easy to do.
I mean, I think about it, and this might be going a bit too far, but I think about it with Oprah.
How so?
Oprah used to have, her shows used to be about it.
Oh, for real?
They used to be wild as hell.
But hasn't she circled back now? Because you've got OWN. And like, so now a lot of the content on there. Yeah,
but I'm just talking about the come up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I got to that space because you were talking about the come up.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the thing that builds you is not the place you end.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember, because look, when we used to watch, I watched it when she brought the clan on and all of that, and that went south.
Yes. Yes, that did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she was trying to activate a conversation, a bigger conversation. But it was a little bit, and then eventually she just said, "No, I'm never having that ever again."
Yeah. No, she was totally like none of that low
hanging fruit.
Yeah.
That's how you class it. Yeah. Wow, we've gone on one
video.